What is up, dudes and dudettes? This is Dude here, and welcome to the Metaverse. Oh well, I think we should copyright it because remember the promotional video we posted beforehand, and it's talking about Metaverse and like the very well taken care of with the photography, black background and everything, like pretending I'm George and everything. Well, we are actually the first ones who came up with that, but hey, if you check the timestamps and everything, we are actually the first one who came up with that. But anyways, at this point, let's just talk about the ticker symbol MMAT. Because we got some very interesting news coming out, and a lot of people are speculating that there is some interesting stuff going on with Facebook and Meta materials. Let me debunk some myth and give you guys some facts. So then you guys can decide what you should do with those kind of information. Again, we're not financial advisors. We do not give financial advices. Okay guys, after did some editing, I realized I never talked about the main event today and why a lot of people freaked out. So basically on October 28th, 2021, Mark Zuckerberg, aka CEO of Facebook, aka D-Ray, I'm just kidding. It's just an enduring nickname that we got for him on this channel. But so what happened is he decided to change Facebook's name to Meta, and then Facebook is gonna start trading under a new ticker starting, I think, next week or tomorrow, not really sure. I gotta go look at the SEC filing again. And it just happened that Facebook changed its name to Meta, and it's making Meta Material, which is this company, investor freak out, okay? Because Meta also is named Meta, and it's also a NASDAQ traded company. All right, this is the prelude of the story, and we're gonna get into the analysis right now. So let's get into it. One of the most controversial or more like a concern of the community as a whole, as far as I look at my Discord and looking at some of the information that number two have been sending me about Meta and Meta Material, aka Facebook versus Meta Material, there's gonna be a lawsuit regarding copyright. Well, here's the thing, okay? Due to my family connections, I get to work in law firms sometimes, and I do a lot of copyright work. So I would say I'm half an expert in the process of registering, defending copyright infringement. And what is interesting about this entire Meta versus Meta claim is, okay, first of all, Mark Zuckerberg does have a lot more lawyers than GP. And GP usually go on a very passive, docile approach in terms of like lawsuits because he really doesn't like legal liabilities. Because if some of the stuff that he's been working on got subpoenaed, then there might be more stuff in question than he wanted to be. But anyways, as far as we don't like GP as the CEO, we do like Meta Material as a company. And you guys know that I actually hold a grudge against Mark Zuckerberg because I actually hold a short-term contract this week betting on Facebook to beat earnings, which it did. But the problem is in pre-market, Mark Zuckerberg actually liquidated about $25 million of his cash in Facebook stock. This is why we see a sharp drawdown in Facebook stock that I'm going to show you here. There are also more of the this is just one form. There's another form you guys should see is right here. So in total about 25 million he sold on the day, including trust and other things, which I found it very interesting. And yeah, continue with the main content. But like you see this is Mark's doing right there. Okay, this is Mark's doing. But anyways, this video is about MMAT. It's not really about Facebook, or now known as Meta, right? Now it just gets really confusing about the thing. So first of all, even if there is gonna be a copyright claim, it's gonna be claiming on business advertising and branding, and it's gonna be on the online segment. But the problem with a lawsuit with that is ultimately who's gonna benefit. There are two ways that meta material, which is MMAT, is gonna benefit. Let me just write it down in a notebook. So first of all is how MMAT benefit from name change of Facebook in terms of a lawsuit is, well, let's just do a section A portion of this. Is, well, it's simple. It's class 35. There's class 35 on US TPO about commercialization and business branding of Meta. And then, George has to prove to court that they used Meta for years, and they intend and are using Meta for commercialization purposes, and it's a huge part of their unique brand as Meta. And thus, if Mark decided to use Meta, then it will infringe GP's brand. Okay, and then if that actually rules in favor of GP, then we're looking at a couple of million, maybe like $500 million sort of lawsuit, maybe even more. But depending on how prepared and then how all of these copyrights are really or trademarks are really registered. Because if you go look at Meta on the USPTO database, you will find that there are a lot of similar logos on Meta. They just operate in different categories. And the only conflicting category is category 35, which is class 35. So that's the only stuff in conflict here, okay? And as we know, the personality of GP, he usually probably wanna, get some money out of the deal, or maybe he just back out and be like, hey, Mark, I will offer you this trademark for X amount of money. And the problem is we actually don't know where do they actually register the Meta symbol under. So if they actually register the Meta symbol under a third party, then all of the shareholder of the NASDAQ exchange will not have the benefit of getting the reward of if they actually sell their trademark. This is why on their balance sheet, their trademark, they actually don't have an intangible asset that related to their brand name, which is really weird. So this is something that we can go deep and investigate. But a lot of you are just interested in what this Facebook news is gonna really do to the Meta Material stock. Well, first of all of you know that when is the last day that we have our Meta videos? So our last Meta video is, let's see, when is the last Meta Material video? I think it's here, a week ago, right? A week ago we were talking about, so a week ago, what day is that? A week ago. Hey, yo, what is it? October 19th. A week ago, October 19th. Right here. When it goes down under $5. So around that point, we're talking about, the true value or adding up the extended value of nanotech material. The actual value of Meta. So the actual adjusted value of Meta will be around $4.6 to $4.8 with current market expectation and our speculation of why GP decided to use cash to buy nanotech. Therefore, in those videos, we said that we are going to load up on $4 and $5 leap options over time. And if MMAT dropped under a very key resistance line, we are going to hold more leap options at 4. And opportunity presented itself at this day on October 22nd. You know, Meta reaches like $4. We bought some $4 leap options when it's at $4. And, you know, it's going up since then, technically speaking. And it seems like the Facebook news is having a really good effect on it, considering aftermarket stuff. But we've been loading up like leap options since the 19th. And our price target for end of the year. So another thing you have to know that we talked about this in Discord. We talked about it in Discord like basically a month ago. EOI of Meta on DD Discord and Patreon is at $6. Actually, it's at $6.2. It should reach that point. And I mean, technically it did reach that point and go exceed that line. It's just like, we do think that with the current market condition and with the current, you know, taper situation, a debt-free company like Material with some sort of clout, it should reach about $6. So using that logic, we sort of, you know, gave out a plan in Discord saying or claiming that you can just hold leap 4 and 5 calls and basically just make money on your bed. Because DD now adapt another lifestyle where I have my monitors running, like, you know, over here and over here. You can't see it, but it's on the other side of this computer right here. And then I just like to open up my phone and trade stuff on Robinhood and just be done with it. But yeah. So if after our movement momentum persists, then all of the leap calls will be about 60% to 80% profitable. And you guys are gonna ask, what's your price target or your price range? Well, let me tell you this. First of all, if it actually goes over $5, then it's probably gonna try to break the key resistance line of 5.5. So 5.5 is a key resistance line. Okay, and MMAT is an absolute meme stock until it reaches about $20 million worth of purchasing orders. And we know that right now, right? Right now we have 8.9 million orders already locked in, right? As of the 28th of September, according to George. So what we have to really decide tomorrow is, if we open at 5.5, how many people is gonna FOMO? If a lot, then we sell cover calls at 6 and at 4, well, actually technically at 5, depending on your risk tolerant level. I can't spell tolerant. And how quick can we reach the $20 million order line, which will actually generate real revenue for the main business, right? That is the question that you have to answer. If you can answer that core questions with the order flow question, then hey, we will know, right? If we can figure those out, then we will know how many days MMAT will sustain at 5.5. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's that simple. If you can figure out how quick we can reach a $20 million order line, then we can figure out how many days we're gonna sustain at 5.5, or if we gonna have a further runner-up, right? But if you're gonna say that it's gonna reach like $8 by the end of the year, I don't believe it. It might have a FOMO train that leads up to $8 somehow, and then if it reaches $8, then as you know, a lot of people in my Discord hold a lot of shares of MMAT. Then what they're gonna do is they're gonna start selling covered calls, and when it sort of revert itself back down to a fair point, we start loading up leap options again. We're also assuming that the general direction of their VR business or AR glass business is gonna go fairly better than the past 5 years. And it is honestly really hard not to beat themselves on goggles compared to the past 5 years, because they literally have negative growth. So as long as they have a positive growth, right now they already have positive growth. I'm assuming that 8.9 million of orders composed of mostly goggles or components of goggles or something like that. They secured 1 million raw material to build goggles, and then 20 million is just a number that I came up with by doing calculations of the margins, and then $20 million worth of purchasing orders will literally put them into profitability line. So I think this is it for the video. Hopefully it's helpful. I mean, again, like, we've been in this for months. Technically, we start loading up these leap options on this day, right? Because we see a sort of like a direct opportunity because people oversold on that day. And on the 19th video, we also explained, I think we did, or on one of our Patreon video, we also explained the reason why we have a fair value estimate on jumping from $3.8 to $4.8, because we actually overlooked a key component in nanotech securities acquisition, and the intention of what George really want to do with nanotech security. It's sort of like nanotech sort of becomes a standalone unit, and then it sort of buys a market segment for metamaterial. And even if metamaterial is not going to be hot in the next few years, because we're saying like it's going to be like really hot in the next 6 years, right? Because we see a lot of raw material problems with production for a lot of different things, but the problem with right now is not a lot of people is willing to adapt metamaterial. So by the end of year 4, George has to figure out how to acquire more customers to basically incorporate new materials into tech. So this is one of the problems that he needs to solve, and the reason why we don't like George is because he's not actively solving that problem. Okay, but we do like the company because this is the only metamaterial company you can invest in the entire NASDAQ exchange. Does that make sense? If you like those kind of videos that I talk in depth about all of these finance stuff or whatever, smash the like button and subscribe. And also, if you guys want another video about this ticker, MMTLP, let me know in a comment down below. You might see a actual on upper movement in a few days, depending on the attraction that metamaterial is gonna get from this metaverse sort of thing. But again, we talk about this, right? It's not gonna exceed $3.5 on this thing. If you guys want a more in-depth analysis on the preferred stock, let me know. Comment down below. And if we got like at least 5 comments and we got, I don't know, 80 likes on this video, I'll make a MMTLP analysis. See you guys on the upside.